On a new Read of Golf, we're going to talk about distance, and I'm going to show you how to improve your bunker play inside. Let's do this. It's time for Proving It, presented by Titleist. You know, the other day, I called my friend Butch Harmon, and I said, Butch, what did you do with Brooks Koepka? And he said, well, this is really simple. He just didn't really have any width in his backswing nor in his follow-through. And he said, Michael, you know how much I love width, and width is such a valuable thing. You hear me talk about it all the time, and that's because Butch talks about it all. I love width in a golf swing. And he said, so I just added a little bit of width to Brooks's golf swing in the backswing and in the through swing, and all of a sudden he started playing a lot better. Now, how do we put width in the backswing? Well, this is a really, really simple drill. All you're going to do is take your 6-iron, whatever club you're hitting, and you're going to put it right into the armpit, just like that, and then grab the club right there. Now, in effect, what you've done is you've created a brace in the arm. I cannot bend this. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a backswing, and I'm going to get this feeling that my body is rotating and the arm isn't bending. You can see right there, there's no way for me to bend. Now all you're going to do is extend the club out like that and get this feeling. And what you're going to feel is that your left side, your lead side, is really stretching or reaching back this way. So we get the feeling that arm is attached to a golf club, the trail arm. Now the club goes back, and now I've got great width in the backswing. And what you're going to notice when we do that, apexes are going to go up. That's one of the things that's going to happen when you create width in your golf swing. Apexes are going to go up. So now you've got a little bit of width in the backswing. Now we need to get width in the through swing. And he says, what I like my students to do is shake hands on the follow through. Well, obviously, if I shake hands on the follow through, my trail shoulder has to get forward. My weight has to get forward. Nobody's going to shake hands by sticking their arm like that. So what we want to do is we want to feel like we've got real width in the backswing and then shake hands in the follow-through. So I want to work on the shake hands in the follow-through on this swing. All I want to get the feeling of is that my arm is extending out to an imaginary individual right there. So let's see if we can get a little bit of width in that follow-through. Now, again, what we notice when we do that is very, very high apex right there. Right on line, which is great, but a very high apex. Now what we want to do is get a little bit of width on the backswing and on the through swing. And as we start to get that, what I should get is I should get more club head speed, a higher apex, and a little bit more of a controlled flight. I'm not going to get a lot of curve to this ball. This is what Butch has worked on with Brooks, and this is something that will help your golf game. A little bit of width here, and a little bit of width over here. Let's see what we get. So now what I get is I get a very, very straight shot. Look at how straight that golf ball is. Greg, let's be prepared to play that one again. I want to just show that shot so everybody can see that. You can see that apex outside of the sim itself. And now, when we start to look at the numbers here, the numbers are really quite good. One of the things that we see is we see a 100-foot apex. My normal apex is about 90 feet, so I lifted that up another 10 feet. What does that do? That makes my greens a little bit bigger. That makes my descent angle a little bit steeper. My golf ball is going to be a little bit softer when it gets onto the green. So that's a really big deal for me. That's one of the things that I'm paying attention to. One of the other things I'm paying attention to is ball speed. That ball speed's up around 119 miles an hour. So I flew that about 181, and you can see it only rolled out to about 184. And that's in the fairway, just about 3 yards. If that was on the green, probably a lot less than that. So let me go back over here, hit another one of these for you, so you have an idea of what it looks like. And again, remind you of the drill that we're doing. The drill that we're going to do, we're going to put that club shaft in the trail arm, make a backswing there, and feel that arm having some width to it. Feel that arm having some length to it. And then you go and reach this here with the lead arm, and all of a sudden now, it really doesn't feel like you've had any wrist set at all in that part of the backswing. So we're reaching back here like this, way out there like that, and then we come through, we're shaking hands on the follow through. This is going to force you to rotate the body a lot more. Again, high apexes, high launch angles, more distance. Oh, and there's another one, 97 feet, ball speed up around 118 miles an hour. That flew about 181 and a half. So you want to improve your game? It's a very simple thing to do. What you got to do is just listen to the man himself, Butch Harmon. He said, add a little width in your golf swing, it's going to help you. That's what he did with Brooks Koepka. Extend the trail arm back this way and then shake hands in the follow through. You start to do those two things, you're going to lift that apex, you're going to lift that ball speed, you're going to increase your distance and have a little bit more fun. That's Proven It, presented by Titleist. It's time for an FJ fix. We hear it all the time. We crave it all the time. What do you want? You want distance. How do you create distance? Believe it or not, it's a lot easier than you think, and it can be created at address. What do I mean by that? Well, it's how you take that lead foot and flare it out, splay it out, open it up. What does that all mean? Give me a little bit of a close-up. There you go. So here I am with my foot position. Those are relatively square. Now, what I'm going to do, my lead foot right here, I'm going to open that up to about a 45-degree position. Now, when you look at that, that looks a lot. When you look at this one here, it doesn't look like it's a lot. It feels like a ton. It's not a lot. But what it does is it invites the lead hip to get out of the way. It invites the lead knee to get out of the way. It helps push off the ground and create speed that way. So let's get that close-up shot again. You can see right there, you come in here square, and then all I want you to do is just take that foot and open it up just like that. So let's show you here. We'll take a little look. So I get in here like this, and I just open that foot just like that. Now what that's going to do is it's going to invite my knee to bend that way, which is going to help me push off the ground and rotate the lead hip. And when you get that freedom to rotate the lead hip, now all of a sudden what you're going to get is added ball speed. The other thing that you're going to get is you're going to get a finish where you're over here on the lead side. You can see how much weight distribution is forward. And that's because this toe has allowed the body to get over to the lead side. So try this again. And this is something I would tell you to do. Go out there and practice. But don't be one of those people that gives it like 2 or 3 or 4 balls. We got to give this a lot, like 20, 30, 40 balls. I don't want you to swing fast. I want you to feel the freedom of the rotation of the body, because what happens when that lead foot is open is the knee and the hip are going to rotate around very freely. So you get your normal setup position like this. Then you just take that lead foot. You're going to open it up in that fashion there. And now we go. And it's going to feel so free for you to let that club travel down the line, to let the body rotate down the line. Greg, show me that shot again if you can, because that was a really easy shot. You could see how gently that ball flies through the air, has a little bit of a soft draw to it. That ball speed was 119 miles an hour. I hit that ball 181.5. And all that happened was opening up that foot. I didn't try to swing any harder. What it does is it creates some added speed in the rotation through that shot. And when you start to add some speed of the lower body, when the lower body starts to lead the upper body, you get what we call proper sequence. And that proper sequence is a ground up thing. The lower body initiates the downswing, then the upper body's moving, then the arms, then the hands. And by opening up that lead foot, you're going to invite a little bit more speed out of the lower body, a little bit of initiation in that motion that's going to give you added club head speed. And that is an FJ fix. It's time for a transformational tip presented by Morgan Franklin. Can you work on your bunker play not in a bunker? Absolutely. How do you do it? This is pretty simple. You have to start thinking about the word low. When we start thinking about low, I want to try to get my rear low, and I want to try to get the butt end of the club low. So it's very simple, butt low. That's what you want you to think about. And as you start to do that, you're going to improve your bunker game tremendously. So when we get in here and a down the line shot, what you're going to see is how low, how much knee flex and how low my rear is. The other thing is that I want to get this handle low. Now, what happens when we get the handle low is I start having to get farther from the ball. When I take the handle and I get the handle high, now I have to get close to it. And one of the biggest problems that I see that people have is they stand too close to the ball and too tall in a bunker. So what I want you to do is I want you to feel like you're going to get really low, knee flex, rear down, and then I want you to let the handle get low here like this. Now, when you come through, I want you to feel that handle, the butt end of the club, staying very, very low. That's going to keep the bounce on the club and allow this to go right through. Very, very slowly. You can see how soft that shot is. That one there, come on up to the front here because you're going to see something really interesting, and that is the vertical launch at about 46 degrees. When you practice this not in the sand, you should be somewhere between 40 and 50 degrees when you're hitting this shot. This is a 58-degree wedge with 14 degrees of bounce. It's a lot of bounce. But what you can see is that I'm able to get that ball up into the air. And the reason why is I'm letting this part of the club slide along the ground there. So let me show you this just one more time so you have an idea of exactly what I'm talking about. We're going to take our rear, let it get low. Knee flex is going to get way down. Then the butt end of the handle of the club is way down here. And then when we come through, I don't want to feel this extend up into the air. I don't want to feel my knees get up into the air. I don't want to feel the shaft of the club get up into the air. I want to stay low all the way through. I'm not going to make big swings here. I'm just going to let this club go right on by. Oh, that one I kind of nipped right out of there. Now, that one looked like it went really low, didn't it? Come on over here. I want you to see this. Because remember I said to you about the launch angle. That launch angle on that, even though that was low, that launch angle was 46 degrees again. And what I'm telling you is that when you start to get things down low, when you start to get this handle down low, get that knee flex, get away from the ball, what you're going to end up doing is utilizing the bounce really effectively, and you're going to start to get that ball to launch at about that between 40 and 50 degrees. And when that happens for you, your bunker play is really going to improve. That's a transformational tip presented by Morgan Franklin. It's time for a grip tip presented by Golf Pride. So many times, I hear this more times than I can count. Michael, how do I hit the ball farther? I've got a limited range of motion. And you know what I tell people? Let me see your grip. What do you mean, let me see your grip? Because more often than not, what I see is what we call a short thumb. Now, short thumb is when this first knuckle right here and the very top of the thumb are about on the same line. There's a great shot. Great job, Gibbsy. So that right there, that's a short thumb. Now, what does that mean? That means that the leverage that I'm going to be able to create between this forearm and the club shaft is not great. When I take this and I go into a long thumb, which is like that. That's very extreme long thumb. Now all of a sudden, watch the angle I'm able to create there. And you can see now the angle between the forearm and the club shaft is enormous. Now, what does that all mean? Well, that means this. I'm going to go short thumb here. When I set up short thumb, and I'm here, and I make this swing, I get to the top, I now look at the angle between the forearm and the club shaft. And when that angle is not really, really small like that, it's really wide, I know there's a problem that I'm going to get with distance. So if I go short thumb just like this, and I make that swing that I'm talking about where I have a wide angle right there, it's going to look like a very, very small swing. It's going to be slow ball speed and club head speed, and I'm not going to get a lot of distance. Now, I'm going to shift to the long thumb right here. And my arm isn't going to travel any farther, but the club shaft is. I'm going to get some real hinge to this. And when I do this with the same length of arm swing, but now more hinge, I get the club traveling a greater distance. That ball speed on that last one was 105. Now watch this. Now that's not really any bigger motion, any harder motion, but all of a sudden now I'm up to 107. I picked up 2 miles an hour there. See if I can get any more, because I know there's more in there. Now I'm going to really let this hinge. I'm going to take this, I'm going to really let this angle get acute. And now I do that, and all of a sudden I'm up to 112. My apex goes zooming in the air, and the ball carries 171 yards. And that's just by altering my grip. And I'll do it again. I'm not making a bigger swing. I know it's easy to go, well, you're making a big, no, I'm not. You're trying to swing. No, I'm not. I'm just telling you, by creating a little bit more leverage in here, what I'm doing is I'm getting the club to travel a greater distance. And when it travels a greater distance, I can load the shaft a little bit better. The shaft performs a little bit better for me. And I generate more club head speed by having that angle, not by moving my arms any farther or any faster. There's another one again. So what I'm telling you is this. When you start to alter your grip, when you change that to a long thumb, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to create a longer motion, which will be a faster motion. And when you get a faster motion out of this club head, you're going to gain distance. And that's a grip tip presented by Golf Pride.